So it begins. Okay, now I think before I ask Penny, and both she and John will have a lot to say over the next short while, or medium while, we hope. I think the most important thing, and the reason why I couldn't support the last recommendation or anything like that, is the fact that it is now critical for us to do the recommendations justice and to put our final imprimatur onto it. We need to do that, and that could be a shortish or a longish discussion. It is up to us. I think what is important to recognise here is that this is a significant document. It's massive, and secondly, much of what we provided for in the draft unitary plan has been agreed with. And so if you go through all of Part A, which talks about the matters that we accept, and some of those will be a good discussion, I suspect, around this table. But if you look at those, you'll see that probably constitutes at least half the unitary plan. Now, I'm going to basically be supportive of these, and there's one or two in amongst them that I don't like. I indicated the other day that I have been a strong supporter of the rub, and the rub is indicated that it should be sitting in the district's plan side rather than at the upper level that I prefer, but I accept that in the end, for us to move forward, that it's a reasonable location for it. So as an example, councillors, so on that basis, we have the opportunity to, in effect, with all of Part A, put half of the unitary plan in place. Now that wouldn't be a bad start. So, Ms. Penny Purr.
Thank you. In terms of report number 2, as requested of staff, the staff have looked through both the reports of the Unitary Plan Independent Hearings Panel and their recommended version of the plan, and we have assessed whether or not their recommendations are in line with the Council's position at the hearings, because that is an indication of the most recent position this Council took into the hearings process. As Mr Mayor has said, the panel has adopted many aspects of the Council's case and what was in the notified version of the plan, and so how we've structured this report is in 4 parts. Part A are those sections of the are the hearings reports from the panel and the sections of the recommended version of the plan that very general represent what the Council's case was at the hearings process. Part 2 is where the panel has recommended policy shifts which move away from the Council's case at those hearings, but on considering the reasons given in the panel's report. Part B, you mean? Part B, sorry. Yeah, Part B. Part B. Okay, so councillors, let's just, as we start, so we're presently sitting on page 6 and 7, and Part B that Penny Purr is talking about is page 8. All right, so now we're going to Part B. Let's talk about Part B. So we're coming back to the recommendations, but Part B are those parts of the Independent Hearings Panel's reports and recommendations that represent a shift in policy away from the Council's case, but after the staff have read the recommendation reports and looked at the recommended version, we are recommending that this Council adopts those policy shifts. Part C is where, in many cases, there's much in the hearings panel reports that the officers recommend are in line with the Council's case, but there are some aspects where there are either policy shifts or there are technical issues that need to be rejected if we are to make sure that the plan is workable. And then in the last part of the report, that is where only technical issues are raised, and they are very much either matters that we believe are errors, omissions, or in working through the plan, some things have not been transferred or translated well. And one of the reasons for those technical issues is I'm sure you will understand this is a massive task for any body who's listening to all the submissions. The panel decided that they would like to restructure part of the plan as well. So in restructuring the plan, that has led to some things we think being omitted from the final version. And that's largely what the technical section of the plan is, of this report is talking to. But if I take you back to the first set of recommendations.
Can we just, so part C for your consideration is at page 25. All right, so that's where we go into the potentially reject side of it. Right, now that's council officers' recommendations. Just important to recommend, to reflect back to you. So we have council officers' recommendations, we could accept them or not. And secondly, then there are issues raised by yourselves. And so we will be considering, I want to deal with the councillors' officers' recommendations first, if that's all right. And then we'll deal with any issues raised by yourselves for consideration by your colleagues. And you raise those issues, remember, on the basis that we would agree with an issue raised by you, we will need a section 32 to justify or sustain that position. So it may be that, that there will be some overnight work in the event that there is a political will around a change that requires us to substantiate that in a technical sense, not just in a political. The political sentiment doesn't cut it. You actually have to back it up, and that's a point that has been driven home to us really for the last year. So, Penny, can we get back to part A?
So part A, in terms of the printed version, there has been one amendment to what you will see in the recommendations on the screen. We did refer to topic 20 view shafts as being one of those parts where there were no changes, but actually in part B there is reference to topic 20. So rather than confuse everybody, we've removed it from the recommendation of part A. It is part of the recommendations on part B. These are all the reports where we believe the position taken by the council at the hearing has been reflected in the recommendation reports and revised version of the unitary plan, and we're happy to take any questions about these sections.
Okay, now councillors, I mean, I'll move this. Councillor Penny H will second that we accept these recommendations. Now, I'm going to, I think the best idea is to do it by way of exception. On the basis that all these items here, as I say, they make a substantive part of the unitary plan. So those of you who were keen to, in effect, tick it off, you know, I'll be interested in your view on this. But if you have any issue, I want to deal with this by way of exception. So we can go through 01, 02, 03, 05, 07, etc. All right? And so if there are matters that you want to raise or have debated, then we'll deal with it as we get to each one of those stages. So I'll do that under the auspices of this being moved as a group.
Can you just remind me, Mr. Chairman, which one, I couldn't hear, which bit was removed, which number was removed from these recommendations?
So in your written agenda, it would have been 020 volcanic.
Thank you.
Councillors, just a logistical issue. I know it's not easy sometimes, especially with the amount of books and stuff all over your desks. Can you just generally move your speakers a little bit closer to you? Some of you are more soft-spoken than others. We can always hear a gnaw, but one or two of you are a little bit quieter, so just get it a little bit closer. Thank you. Right, okay. Are there any questions about this particular section and how I'll work through it? Councillor Bill.
So you're planning on taking the topics as we go down them numerically?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'll give notice, I've got a couple of questions on topic 024.
Okay, well, we'll start at 001. Any comment on 001? Nope. Any comment on 002? Zero, zero, three. Zero, zero, five. Zero, zero, six. And 010.
Mr. Mayor, could you, when you go 005 with it, can you just give the title of what we're talking about?
Absolutely, certainly. Thank you very much for that, Councillor Mike. 005, issues of regional significance. Right, 006, natural resources and biodiversity at 010. Right, 007, RPS climate change. Right, all of you should ideally have your ring binders on your desks and just quietly be shelving through those for all of those many coloured stickers on it.
What page is that?
We're on the big
Page, please.
topics out.
Oh, don't worry. Okay. 008, coastal environment. Councillor Mike.
Mr. Mayor, in terms of Ports of Auckland and Waitemata reclamation matters, is this the appropriate
Yes.
place?
Well, actually, we are dealing with that specifically under some items, I think under Part
Thank
C.
you.
Councillor
We'll
Mike, you
deal
would
with
have
it
read
more
through
specific-
those, you would have seen
Thank
there's some rejects, some accepts, so perhaps if we just, if it's to do with some of the port discussions, if we just encapsulate them in that. How about that? Good. Anything else on 008?
What page is 008?
Can you be the arbiter of the...
Got you. And you've got you.
No, so we're talking about report 008 at the moment. Where is it sitting in terms of that?
It's right at the front of it. It's nearly the front of this.
The front
folder
of
two.
volume
Folder two.
folder 2.
So what page would that be?
Fortunately, every time a topic begins, the numbering begins, so but it is the second topic in
Second
volume
topic.
2.
Okay.
It's roughly 5-7 pages in.
Right, so as we go through, because I don't have, I'm managing a range of other things here at the moment, so as I call each one of these out, if you can just reflect on what number section it is in the grey folder.
Chairman, they're all got the topic number that
Yeah.
you're calling out.
That's good?
It's the only way to identify it.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so it's in your second folder, second
Second topic.
topic in.
It says topic 8, just what he said.
So,
Councillor Mike, so we got that one? Okay, 018, monitoring and environmental results anticipated. And this is which?
okay.
No tabs. Councillor Chris.
Sorry, can I just go back to 008 coastal environment? I just want to check something because there's a cross-reference made by the panel. It's on page 9, and I'm sure the staff will be able to confirm. It's the third paragraph from the top. The panel agrees. Have you got page 9? The panel agrees. And it refers then, it's speaking about open space and public access. I just want to have some confirmation that the matter is adequately addressed under B8.4 Are the staff abreast of that? Ms Coombs is at the back giving a thumbs up.
Yeah, so our planner on this topic was Kath Coombs, and Kath can confirm.
I just want to make sure that it is adequately addressed. The narrative says so, but
Yep, I checked that. We had actually duplicated putting public access into 2 different policies, and they removed it from the first one and left it in the second one.
Okay, it's in the second.
Public access section rather than the general section.
thank you. Ta.